Hello, this is Viethra or Taft Films, depending on where you're watching this, and this is the top 10 anime villains list of 2009. I had to add him. I had no choice. This is a notorious villain, Frieza from Dragon Ball Z. Even though the show's a little bit older and I've got some problems with it, as a character, um, this individual represents a lot about why people like the show. Is that it always went one more level, it always took one more step in the action, and the character itself represents a lot of things in the themes about attempts to gain power, and is pretty well managed, though his fight scenes are drawn out. This next one is very underappreciated, and she's from a show that doesn't have very many followers, but it's Hild from Oh My Goddess. She's the mother of one of the main characters named Erd, and she is notable for being basically the show's equivalent of the devil, even though she's not very evil. Um, she takes many different forms and is one of the most light-hearted villains in this show, even though she's pretty evil. This is Little Slugger. He's notorious in psychological anime because he represents and is the embodiment of psychological and mental illness. He's known as a murderer in the show, but he's not technically physical in form. And one of the cool things about him is that he's everywhere and nowhere. He's within every character in the series and can't be stopped by normal physical means. He's also pretty cool. The baseball bat he always carries around is his sort of symbol, and he gives the heroes a run for their money. Definitely a show to look out for. This show is amazing, and this villain is one of these several on this list that are very amorphous. It's Medical Mechanica, and Medical Mechanica is more of a concept than an individual. It's a force trying to wipe out all the interesting things in the universe, all of intelligence and life, and so the main characters of the show are pitted against the ultimate enemy of existence. Also, it's pretty awesome looking, just in all of its physical incarnations, and it produces some of the best fight scenes in anime history. Also, the director is from Studio Gainax and puts a lot of work into making everything involving this character fascinating. This is the notorious Gendo Ikari. Half on this list because he basically causes the end of the world, but also on this list because he's one of the biggest jackasses in history. In an attempt to get closer to one person, he ruins the lives of pretty much everybody else in this show, and is notable for being one of the most megalomaniacal enemies in all anime. But there are a few on this list that are worse. For instance, number 5. This is Light Yagami. He is the most power-hungry person that I've ever heard of. Basically, he gets the power to kill anybody he wants, and so he totally runs with it and considers himself a godlike destroyer of all evil. Now, as power corrupts, he ends up becoming an embodiment of evil to others, and ruins the lives of several people. He, even though he has some struggles, he's so intelligent that he gets away almost every time, and is pretty cool too. But he becomes clouded by his own thirst for power, and That's never good when you've got all these clever people around him. But he's notable for being one of the craziest anime characters to be so successful. I don't know how to put together in words how horrible everything that happens to this character is. She's one tragedy after another, and her name is Lucy. Throughout the entire series, basically, her whole life is just one train wreck after another. She has the ability to kill people at will, magical sort of like psychic arms, and like alternative personalities. And so she keeps being battered throughout her whole life by all these different people. And because of that, the people that are kind to her suffer as well. She's also one of the most tragic characters in anime, and her show is one of the saddest. This is Naraku, and he's similar to the next person on this list, but Naraku at first is impressive because he's so powerful. He can face the enemies several times and get away, but he's kind of got a sort of a Lord Voldemort complex in that he dies several times and comes back, and dies and comes back, and dies and comes back. And a lot of people left the show because they were getting tired of him never just dying. He drew the show on so long that he's potentially the cause of its destruction. People are gonna hate me for this. Yeah. Yeah. This is Sasuke Uchiha. And some people don't think of him as a villain, but I consider him a villain for two reasons. One is that he becomes a villain during the show, and two is that he basically destroyed the show's reputation among serious anime fans. He stole the show without any real justification, and betrayed everyone he knows, becomes completely evil, and his personality is ripped off of several other characters as well. There's not much interesting about him, but he's notable for being single-handedly ruining that show for people. This character is one of the only ones on the list simply because of how powerful he is. Anti-Spiral, which technically he's also several people. He's not just one individual. But the Anti-Spiral is a coalition of beings that are against all things with DNA because it has the power to amass infinite strength and potential. The final battle with the Anti-Spiral has the people in the battle using galaxies to hurt each other. So you can see kind of how extreme his abilities are. And produces some of the greatest fight scenes in anime. He also looks pretty damn cool too, so that's great. Awesome. This is my list and not your list, so please don't complain, though I know there people are going to anyway. But the great thing about YouTube is you can make your own list, or you can post a comment. So if you have any opinions on this, then please share them below and enjoy.